So I don't know. I mean, if you do bring him back, it's for 1 year, but at the same time, I
If you're
just
Koivu, then why do you come back on a 1 year deal though?
yeah. Well, that's that's a fair point too. But I probably just let him go. Just let the young guys play and see where it takes us.
I
You
mean,
know,
I understand Russo's point that there is nobody else on this team that does what he does, and if that continues to be the case, then maybe you have to bring him back. But what I'm saying is, why does that have to continue to be the case? Like, I mean, what's he do well right now? He's defensively very good. Still, he's upper echelon defensive center, and he's got the respect of the room, I guess, right? That's about it. I mean, he's certainly not fast anymore. He's certainly not scoring anymore. I mean, so you going to tell me it's that hard to find another defensive center in the league? Like, I don't accept that. And I know
Are
my
that's
you
not what.
fine? Are you fine letting him play a role? Like if he accepts coming back as the third line or fourth line center
Well, but
until he decides to give it up?
in order to do that, he has to be willing to accept like a $3 million contract,
Right.
absolutely, it has to be low pay.
right? Which maybe he would. I don't know. Maybe he would, right? But he would have to take a significant pay cut. And the other thing we always hear about him and always have is how proud he is. Well, I'm not even trying to bash him for this, but if that's the case, you wait a minute. You want me to come back for a reduced role and a 50% pay cut? You guys can pound sand. I'm sorry.
I'll
I
go
mean,
to my
like,
island in my sauna and
right? Yeah, yeah. Raise my 8 kids or whatever.
right.
So that's the key is if he's plugged in the third and fourth line, then he can't still be making second line center money.
Oh, absolutely, and I think it depends too what else Guerin wants to do. Like if Stahl's still here the next year, if he goes out and finds a second line center, then I think Koivu has to be okay being the fourth line center because you can't just keep Eck on the fourth line.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
he's got to be at least third line, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Well, or at least you have to figure out if he can be right.
Yeah, right.
That's what
But
I'd
A
like to
good
see him
year
do
to
with this year is just stick Eck on stick Eck with your first line center or your first line forwards or your second line forwards, and you've got 6 months to figure it out.
yeah, I mean,
And if it's not the guy, then you trade him at the draft.
right. X contract year is next season, right? His
Yeah.
cap hits just a hair under 1.5 mil. I mean, not Donato, same thing. But now the and Hartman, but all three of those guys are RFAs after the 2021 season. Um, but yeah, I mean, you don't want to go into their contract year season if you can help it without a deal for them, an extension for them. That's that whole problem. So now this would be the season, in other words, to figure out what their value is. But you can't. I mean, I agree with you guys. You can't figure that out for Eck if he's playing 9, 10, 12 minutes a night.
Right.
agreed, or with Iowa Wild call ups on the
Right. Or
And here's
Donato.
best case scenario: maybe Eck figures it out, and we find out he's a first line or a second line guy.
Well,
Fantastic. Now we don't
yeah.
need to go find somebody for Kaprasov to play with. And if he doesn't, you ship him off to somebody that needs a good third line center.
Cheap, yeah, and under
Yeah.
control for another year with RFA behind it. Yeah,
Right.
no, yeah, no. But the point is, you got to figure that out now. Like this is a
Right.
season where you figure that out.
Right.
I
But
also
that. Go ahead.
I also think, and this is kind of a little bit off track, but I think the Wild, and maybe this is because Paul Fenton was on his way out. I'm not exactly sure what the timing of the trade was, but the Wild should have been interested in getting Howla back if Las Vegas was looking to get rid of him.
Mm-hmm.
With how slow we are and how bad, I mean, he could be your second line center
Mm-hmm.
here.
That's an interesting point.
Like they
Yeah.
should have been in and at least inquired on what it would take to bring him back. I can't remember what Carolina to get him back, but those are the kind of things are like what the Wild need to be looking at.
Yeah.
Fenton would only trade for his guys, though. That was the thing. Like it was
Yeah, I can't
his
remember.
guy
I think
or
it
nobody.
was before Fenton got canned.
Yeah.
screwed
And
this
I mean,
team.
I know there was some fallout with Howlett too, but his wife's from Minnesota, so I'm sure he would have been all for it, you know.
All right. Well, so many problems on this team, not least of which though is the mind frame of the owner. But yeah, well, there'll be plenty of fat to chew on for the Wild over the course of their season, I'm afraid. And maybe some of that turns into interesting fat to chew on. Who knows? But I'd like to get to that point. Let's go to Minnesota goodbyes. On the way into Minnesota goodbyes, though, 2-0 Wolves. Positive start for them. And that's all I got on the Wolves. I don't know, Tony, if you want to include something about that in your Minnesota goodbye, but I'll give you a moment to think about that as I just threw you under the bus there. So, Mike, why don't you go first?
Sweet. I won't let Tony take mine. I'm gonna say goodbye to Gopher football irrelevance for the first time in 15 years. It's nice that they're being talked about and finally, hopefully, being respected outside of College game day. But yeah, I look forward to the next month with them.
He's already teeing up PJ for the next week and a half.
There you go. There you go. All right, Tony, have at it.
I don't have anything on the Wolves, but my Minnesota goodbye is to the roads being closed. The roads at U.S. Bank Stadium are wide open. Goodbye to Xavier Rhodes being a shutdown corner.
Lovely. Yeah, no kidding. My God. At least he acknowledges that he's like a yellow flag magnet at this point, but my goodness.
Yeah, there's no construction going on there. The roads are wide open.
MnDOT has finished its job. My Minnesota goodbye is to me making any prognostication when it comes to Gopher football, because as you all know, I've gotten a lot of mileage out of the non-conference success does not equal conference success for the Gophers over the last few years, and cannot say that anymore. So I don't know that I have an oar in hand, but I am a lot. There's nothing to be negative about the Gophers right now, in my opinion, until and unless they decide not to bring Fleck back. But they haven't done that yet, so nothing to be negative about them right now. So there you go.
Grab an oar, you'll feel a lot better.
All right, well, there you go. Another episode of the Minnesota Sports Fans Unfiltered show, which you can catch this and all the shows at talknorth.com. For Brandon, Mike, and Tony, this is Nick. Thanks for listening. We'll be back with you again soon.